All right, all right, all right. Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Geekly Goods Roundup, your weekly source for film news, TV news, all the hottest topics. I'm your host, Loretto. My co-hosts Leo and Ile will unfortunately won't be joining us, but we still got a great show ahead of us. I have a special guest who I'll introduce in just a second. It's an interesting thing. Like some news weeks are slower than others, but for whatever reason, there's always a week or two in the year where all these trailers drop, which is kind of what we'll get into tonight. We have the Thunderbolts trailer from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like their anti-hero villain team up, starring the wonderful Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan, of course, as Bucky, and a whole slew of other villains and anti-heroes. We have a trailer for Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff starring Ana de Armas, and of course Ryan Coogler's highly anticipated next film called Sinners, which is like a old-timey vampire flick. Looks really, really cool. Amongst other things, Kyle Chandler got cast as Hal Jordan. I'm not the biggest Lanterns guy, but I like Kyle Chandler. I like the casting. So without further ado, let me introduce my special guest who will be joining us tonight. Mr. Novice Cinephile, welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks for putting me in, Coach. Happy to be here. You know, it's hard being a third string quarterback, but you got to step up when the time calls, right?
Yeah, man. Like Malik Willis for your Packers, stepped up admirably for Jordan Love. I mean,
I'd argue he should have played this week, but
yeah, Jordan Love looked rusty, bro.
It is what it
But
is.
hey,
You know, he knocked it
yeah.
off by the end of the game. It's okay.
Yeah, I feel like he found his groove, but you guys were in such a hole at that point.
Yeah.
Anyways, my Niners got back in the win column. Huge get right game for us. So hats off to the Niners. Niner faithful, stand up.
Your defense got me like 25 points in fantasy, and I'm just like, I didn't watch that game, but they were putting in work, man.
Oh man, when Warner took off with that interception, I was running around my house like, oh! Oh man, we love football in this house. My Niners did such a great job, and hopefully we can keep this going because I didn't even want to talk about football last week because it just made me so sick that loss. But this is a show about film news, so without further ado, let's get into our first segment. If I could find the transition. Never gets old. Love that theme song. So we're going to talk about shows and movies of the week really briefly because apparently Mike did not watch the show that I watched. But let me kind of pass this off to you really quick. Is there any movies or shows that you did watch that of interest that you want to bring up?
Yeah, you know, I missed Agatha, unfortunately, this week, but I've been like neck deep in screeners. So I've been watching Superman and Lois, the final season. I can talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
That final season is going to be amazing. They're adapting the death of Superman, so you guys know how that goes.
Oh,
so it's gonna be interesting to see the reaction to that because man, it hits hard.
Okay.
Also, I've been watching.
How does the Doomsday look? Does he look good? Does he look like an ogre, like a troll?
Doomsday kind of looks like a troll. But like I'm a little more forgiving because this is CW Doomsday. So like for all things considered, he does look good, but he's not gonna look like a movie level Doomsday. Thankfully, they play with lighting and things like that to where like you don't notice him that much. It's not that bad, but you can also feel like, yeah, this is a TV show. This reminded me it's a show. But
yeah, I was thinking, I was like, what's the quality here? Okay.
Yeah. But you know, it's really the characters that are at the heart of it, especially with Lois and the boys in this version of Superman. So it's really interesting on how they tackle that. My Hero Academia, You're Next, that hits theaters this week. I interviewed the cast. That's a fun one. The movie's great. So if you love My Hero Academia, that's one I also recommend. But yeah, that made me miss Agatha, which I'm very upset about because I love the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. Really quick, let's say hi to Laser. What's up, man? And last stream? No, it's just a late night stream. It's a late night special here at the Roundup. I got caught up at work, but here we are. So
Better
thanks
late
for
than
joining
never,
us,
you
Laser.
know?
What was that?
better late than never, you know. We're here.
Oh yeah, no,
We made
exactly.
it.
You know, we're here and we're doing it. So, My Hero Academia. Go ahead, keep going.
Oh yeah, great movie. The cast is fun. I think if you enjoyed the series, you would enjoy the movie. It does kind of stand on its own though, so if you haven't seen anything from the franchise, I think you can still get into it a little bit. But yeah, fun time.
I was gonna say I was like, I don't know nothing about that, but that's
It's
cool.
the fourth movie, so yeah, not the best jumping in point.
Yeah, so is that in theaters?
It'll be in theaters this week. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Man, you're a busy guy, man. So really briefly, I mean, I don't want to spoil it or go too deep, but I did see the newest episode of Agatha All Along. I love this show, man. Haters be damned. And all the people like who asked for this, shut up. Like, it's just fun. It's spooky season. I love this whole coven vibe. And this episode in particular just really kicks off the adventure, especially if you guys saw the first two episodes. They obviously got to the Witch's Road. And
Yeah.
now we're walking not the yellow brick road, but the grayish stone laid road where they have to take off their shoes for some reason. I still would like an explanation. But the cast is awesome, guys. Joe Locke, obviously Katherine Hahn, and again, I don't want to kind of get too deep into the episode. I don't want to spoil it, but there's some elements here that I really enjoyed. They kind of kick in a little bit of horror elements, and
Nice.
towards the end, it's just like the sense of adventure is something that I just love. Like you put me with like a group of characters, a ragtag group of characters on some kind of mission or quest. I'm all about that. So they very much got into the quest portion of their story. So if you're into spooky stuff, if you liked WandaVision, check it out if you haven't yet. Agatha All Along on Disney Plus. So far, so good. 3 episodes in.
I love that this show is also longer, right? This is going to be what, like 9 episodes compared to the usual 6 from Disney. So I
was gonna
appreciate
say-
we're getting a lot.
Right. And it's like when you have that TV format, it's so hard to tell a story in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Like sure, you could tell it in a movie format, but if when you split it up in episodes and you're still kind of rushing through, it's like, let the story breathe a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, what are we gonna do? I mean, we already got what we got with what was it, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, and it is what it is. So.
Well, I think it's a look into the future, right? Because Daredevil Born Again is like what, going to be 18 episodes, I think, in the next batch. So I think Marvel learned their lesson of like, yeah, maybe we should, because Kevin Feige was even on record saying that their initial vision was like, yeah, we're going to make movies and put them on Disney Plus and chop them up. And it's like, that's not how you make TV. And I think
right.
it's a lesson. So
right. And what's interesting is I feel like it doesn't lend itself well to the storytelling at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it really felt like it was a movie studio trying to make TV shows. So I'm glad they kind of have their own TV division, even have the different logo now that's like Marvel Television. And it's like, okay, now we're cooking.
Yeah, no, and I like that little logo. It has like the little hint of the theme, but it's just like really quick, and then boom, you're into the show. Like,
yeah,
like it. All right, so yeah, check out Agatha All Along. Let's get into the main meat and potatoes of the show. We got a bunch of great stories tonight. All right, really quick, let's welcome Braylon to the show. Your cousin Leo is unavailable tonight, but I'm here. Go Niners, baby. Niners. Faithful stand-up. Bay Area. My fellow Niner fan over there, Mike. You're probably like, what? Why?
Listen, the Niners have caused me so much pain. I'm just gonna smile through it all.
I was gonna say, yeah. We have a little tiny bit of rivalry going back to
it's
the.
It's not even a rivalry at this point. You guys just smoke us each time.
I know, it's great. I love it.
I love that.
Anyways, oh man, Braylon's cracking up. He knows. Yeah, the Packers don't want to see us right now. Anyways, we always kick off the round off with a check of the box office pulse. So surprise, surprise, The Wild Robot has a fantastic debut. They grabbed the #1 spot with 35 mil. Beetlejuice, who was #1 for 3 weeks in a row, drops to #2 16 mil, not bad. I mean, they're already at almost a 400 mil gross worldwide. They're pretty close to it. I
Yeah.
believe the budget was like 120, something like that. So they doubled up. They're doing really well, especially for like a spooky Tim Burton film. That's pretty good. So
Yep.
Transformers 1 drops to 3 with 9.6 mil, followed by Devara Part 1, an Indian film that I'm not terribly familiar with. I'll let you talk about it if you know about it. And Speak No Evil rounds out the top 5 here. I can't wait to see The Wild Robot. It's DreamWorks' latest animated film starring Lupita Nyong'o, and it looks beautiful. Animation looks amazing, and I've heard nothing but great things. I heard it really tugs at the heartstrings. I feel like we might have like an Iron Giant Junior kind of vibe going on here.
Yeah.
But I'm all for it. I love robots. Like Wall-E is one of my favorite animated films, and like when you care about a robot, the story was cooking. It's one thing to care about like a person or like a relationship, but when you care about like a freaking machine with little like laser eyes, and it's just like, I don't know. I think they did something right. So any surprises here, Mike? Anything that kind of catches your eye? Have you seen this movie yet?
I haven't got a chance to see Wild Robot yet. I'm seeing it this coming week. Everything I've heard, like you, it's been phenomenal. Like I've heard the Wall-E comp like several times, and that's why I know like this movie's gonna get me once I see it. Like I'm gonna be
Right.
in tears probably.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting how well this movie did, because I remember if you looked at the schedule like months ago, we all kind of thought that maybe the Wild Robot should move out the way of Transformers 1, and it's shocking how poorly Transformers 1 has done its first 2 weeks,
Yeah.
considering word of mouth for that movie is really good. I don't know
Yeah.
what's the deal there with that. Do you think the live action films just caught up to it eventually, and like this franchise is just dead?
Right. It might be fatigue on the, I don't know, Transformer fatigue, if there's such a thing, but
Yeah.
it's that movie deserves better. I had a great time with it. I really liked Transformers 1. So
Yeah, it's
um
it's really fun. But yeah, Wild Robot. I'm surprised. I mean, like, it is based on a book, so maybe it did have like a core audience there. I just didn't expect it to do this well, honestly,
yeah,
because
35 mil, and I think the budget for this one was like 70-ish. So
yeah,
they almost made their budget back in one weekend. It's pretty good.
yeah, and DreamWorks has been on a little roll here, so I'm impressed. I've seen a lot of people saying that this is their best movie since How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm
Oh, I
like,
love to hear it.
that's impressive, because first off, that means you're talking about How to Train Your Dragon 1, and those sequels are amazing. But that also
Yeah.
means you think it's better than Puss in Boots, which is also an incredible film. Puss in Boots 2.
Yeah. What was it?
And
The Last Wish?
yeah. And
Yeah, no,
so
that was a
I'm
good one.
excited. I'm excited to see this one. And again, Beetlejuice being the surprise, I think it's going to have really good legs, especially deeper we get into spooky season, like you were saying. Like the
Yeah.
closer we get to Halloween, I wouldn't be surprised if it just crawls back up a little bit.
Oh yeah. No, and it's like 16 mil in its fourth weekend. That is not bad at all.
Yeah.
And I think it might hold. I mean, maybe it'll drop a little bit, but I think it'll still be in the top 5 next week. And I think there's a fan base there. For me at least, there's rewatchability because I loved it even more the second time I saw it. I think
Mm.
the first time I saw it, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I was a little tired. I had a couple drinks. I was just I was
It
in a different
happens.
mind state. But the second time, I was really keyed in on more details, and I loved that movie. I had so much fun with it. And I kind of love how it's like, I mean, okay, it's a little bit like Way of Water, where it's like Burton's greatest hits, but as a fan, I'm like, that is totally fine with me.
I mean,
So,
yeah, like Burton's greatest hits, I don't think is a bad thing, because think, when was the last time we've had like a truly good Tim Burton movie? Like
thank you.
we had Wednesday on Netflix, and that was, you saw how big that was, and I think that just kind of reminded us like, yeah, we like Burton's style and we like his flair. So getting it
Yeah.
back on the big screen is like nothing wrong with hitting the greatest hits once in a while.
Yeah. And I think when I saw Wednesday, I was like, oh, he got his mojo back. Like
Right?
you can kind of just feel it. I was like, okay, he's back. He's back. So, I'll be honest, I haven't even seen, what was it, Miss Peregrine's foster children, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I missed that one. And then I didn't see Dumbo. I've heard kind of mixed things about Dumbo. So yeah.
You didn't need to see Dumbo for what
There
it's
you go.
worth.
Yeah, I've heard more bad than good, but
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm here for the Burton Renaissance. So I am hoping, obviously it's making a lot of money. They might do a sequel. I'm kind of hoping he does something new, original. I mean, like Wednesday obviously is already an established property, but bring us back to the Edward Scissorhands, era where he was just having fun doing his own thing, Frank and Weenie, something like that.
With how this industry works, the insides and outs, I think he probably needed to make a movie like Beetlejuice before he gets that opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately, like John
Absolutely.
Favreau has mentioned that before of like, hey, I did Lion King, so I can do the Mandalorian. And it's like,
Nice. It's like one
okay,
for you, one for me. Yeah.
right. And so since like that's not even a secret anymore, he actually revealed that. And it's like, so that's how the industry works, just for
Right.
everybody to know. So Burton
But
probably
it makes you wonder. It's like, is that why the Lion King sucks? I'm just kidding.
yeah, I mean
I feel so bad saying it, but
no, but like that could be factual of like he did Jungle Book because he wanted to, but then he did Lion King because he had to. And
yeah,
that's why you can kind of feel the difference there. But in
yeah,
Burton's case, he probably needed to reestablish himself a little bit
yeah,
with Wednesday and then Beetlejuice. And so now he probably does have that trust of the studio to go do that new thing. So
yeah. I
I
hope
would
so.
expect to see another like original story from him soon.
Hell yeah, that would be so cool. Because I'm yearning for something new. Edward Scissorhands is actually my top Burton film, so
It's
something
so
along
good,
those
man.
lines. Yeah, it is. It's like a modern fairy tale, and I love it. But yeah, so that's the box office pulse. Wild Robot, check it out. It's now in theaters. I can't wait to see it myself. I have been so busy this weekend working, but hopefully in the next couple of days I'll probably catch it. All right, let's talk about our first trailer of the night. Marvel's Thunderbolts with an asterisk released its first official teaser trailer, and I will say this: this is probably one of my least anticipated projects. However, the trailer has me intrigued. It has my
Mm,
attention. I really liked seeing them kind of, not sure what whose intentions are what, and they're kind of like throwing stuff at each other, fighting each other, and then from
yeah,
this clip alone, we see that I think Valentina bought Avengers Tower.
yeah,
We were wondering like, oh, was it Norman Osborn? Is it gonna become the Baxter Tower? No, I guess Valentina bought it. I don't know if she bought it for the Thunderbolts, but here we are. We're back at Avengers Tower
that
with our
might be the most boring outcome of that entire mystery. We waited 8 years almost for that.
right.
Like the whole mystery was in what Spider-Man Homecoming. So that's like what 2017. We
Right.
waited that long just to be like, it's Val, a character who nobody knew existed when they set that up. It's like, oh, okay,
Right. No, it's a
all
little bit
right,
of a letdown. Little bit, little bit. I think I was kind of hoping the Norman Osborn route would be cool. Have Oscorp Tower replace Avengers Tower. That would have been cool. But I like the vibe. I love the way that David Harbour and Florence Pugh play off each other, which kicks off this teaser.
yeah,
And he was like, leave the DoorDash on the leave it on the outside the door or whatever. And it's just fun seeing him as Alexi, and obviously that father-daughter dynamic is always great. But yeah, I
yeah.
really like this trailer. I'm on board. I'm not as excited as most, I would say, but I'm definitely gonna see it. How did you feel about this teaser, Mike?
I'm more interested than I was, which it's an improvement, right? Like I think Marvel knew that they had to win us over with this trailer because this is our first look at the Thunderbolts, and it's like a 3-minute trailer, and I don't
Yeah,
think they've ever done that. It's usually like a small teaser, right?
yeah,
But they really had to pitch this movie to us because it's not an established like team that we're used to. It's featuring a bunch of side characters
yeah.
essentially, and
Like,
so
does Taskmaster talk? Like,
no.
is this gonna be like silent partner, or I mean, sorry, is she just gonna be like a silent partner? Like,
Essentially, and so I think that's why they had to lean into the Black Widow vibes of getting,
okay,
Yelena and Alexi, like, hey, remember these two characters you liked from that movie during the pandemic that you probably forgot existed?
right,
but I do like the action looked cool. I do like the idea of like having the new Black Widow be the vehicle that drives this film, right? I mean, putting it on the shoulders of Florence Pugh, that's just gonna set them up for success because she's so entertaining
she's a
in this
star.
role. Movie star, right? Like A-list at
Yes,
this point. I,
Yes,
I I'm
he is.
I'm intrigued to see what route they go because we don't see a villain really. And the
Right,
entire pitch of the trailer is like, hey, there are bad guys and there's worse guys, but they never show us the worst guy. And I think that's
right,
interesting. Um, Especially towards the end of the trailer, it looks like Bucky is fighting the rest of the Thunderbolts. So I
right.
wonder what his role in this is as well. And like it feels very Suicide Squad, which is interesting. Like I was telling Leo this off air before, but like I did not expect the Suicide Squad to be this influential. Like we have
Yeah,
Creature Commandos, we have Thunderbolts, we have two Suicide Squad movies, and it's like it's a cool idea of like quote unquote villains teaming up to do good, but I need to know why this team in particular, because again, like, and this is the hard part for me. I like Florence Pugh as an actress. I don't know if I like any of these other characters that much to be that invested, right?
yeah,
Like Bucky, I like just because we've spent like a decade with him, but I don't even think I love Bucky that much to where it's like, oh, I have to go see this movie for Bucky, you know?
yeah,
So I want to know what the draw is going to be as we get closer and deeper into the marketing of like, hey, this is why you need to go see Thunderbolts, asterisks.
yeah. No, and I think like minus obviously the whole. By the way, the asterisk is referring to Sentry, right?
I have no idea, maybe.
Because I thought that's what that was. But I think my biggest thing in this movie was the lineup. It's such a
Yeah.
tame slash boring lineup.
Yeah.
Um,
It very much is. Oh yeah, they announced a Bane and Deathstroke team up, which is
I did not
we.
know that. Is that going to be like a live action film?
It's in the DCU, I assume so. So allegedly
Okay,
produced by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Since
interesting.
you didn't know that this happened, I'll just take a second to talk about it. We can get back to Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
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 this
go
was
ahead.
coming from the Hollywood Reporter on Friday night. Yeah, we don't know what that's leading to. I assume maybe it's leading into the Batman movie, like maybe the Sinister Six for Batman teams up, and then him and the Bat family have to fight Bane
Right,
and Deathstroke and these other villains. It's
right.
weird. We have no other details. That's the gist of it.
I was gonna say that's really random, and I feel like, I mean, for whatever reason, all of the studios are kind of diving headfirst into like putting villains on a pedestal, like the Sony Spider-Man-less universe, obviously, and I think
Yeah.
there's like mixed results here, right? Like, I'll be honest, I love James Gunn's Suicide Squad, but here with Thunderbolts, and then even just hearing this news, I'm like, do we need this movie?
It's
So
also a strange pairing of it's not Bane gets a solo movie and Deathstroke gets a solo movie. It's that they both team up together. And it's like,
yeah.
what do they have to do with each other? I don't get it.
And I'll be honest, I mean, I liked Tom Hardy's take on the character, but to be honest, Bane's kind of a one-note character to me. Like, not a lot of depth there, but he's kind of just a big, brute. But
I mean, they can add depth, and I think that's the interesting part to me is like even in the Dark Knight Rises, the
yeah,
idea of him being like this child who's alone, who has to grow in this utter chaos, and he ends up taking over Santa Prisca, right, and becoming their leader, gaining power. I think that could be an interesting route. Don't just make him like what the problem with Bane in these movies is he always ends up playing second fiddle, whether it's Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin, or it's Talia in The Dark Knight Rises.
right,
It's like give him his own agency, tell us his story and how he ends up becoming a mercenary for hire and how he ends up fighting the Batman later on.
To this day, I still can't get that image out of my head from Batman and Robin where Bane's like putting the bombs down and he's like, boom,
Yeah.
boom. Like,
What's
it still
sad
cracks
is
me up.
Bane was created in like 1990, so like he's a pretty brand new character at that point, and he's like
Yeah,
the first character to like really break the Batman in the comics, and that was their
right,
takeaway of it's just he's a meathead.
right,
It's like
right.
he was like the strongest person Batman ever fought to that point, and they're just like, yeah, no, he's an idiot.
Right, right. And then yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't like the way that movie treated him. But anyways, let's get back to the roundup here. Tyler, by the
Thunderbolts.
way, I'm gonna be the bigger person and say congratulations to your Ravens, and that's the last time you'll ever hear me say that.
Ah.
Uh,
No,
um,
but yeah, the Thunderbolts they aren't Villains, yeah, you're right. I think that's also what makes them really uninteresting. Like, I
Yeah,
just think of other Marvel villains we could have thrown in this team. Like, we could have grabbed Sylvie. Like I think they're all super soldier related or adjacent characters,
yeah,
and that's the frustrating part of this lineup is they're not that interesting, and they're all kind of Captain America or Black Widow clones.
yeah. It's
And
very
it's like
bland.
get magic users in here. Like get the Vulture. That could have been cool. I guess he's stuck in Morbius land, but still, we could have just
Yeah,
retconned that.
and I think Abomination's supposed to be a Thunderbolt, right?
Yeah,
So that would have been cool to see like, Tim Roth in this lineup. But I
I
mean,
I feel like Marvel killing off all their villains so early on in the MCU's history is coming back to bite them because
yeah,
like all of those villains from like phase 1 and 2 are gone. Phase 3, even like Killmonger on this team would have been way more interesting than
yeah.
Taskmaster.
Oh my god, no, seriously, Killmonger would be great on this team.
Yeah,
That would put my butt in the seat seeing Michael B. Jordan and Florence Pugh like play off each other. That'd be cool.
and that's my point of like them being quote unquote super soldiers is part of the problem, but it's again, there's just not a very interesting lineup because Killmonger would still fit that bill,
Yeah,
but he's a
I was
way
saying
more
technically
interesting
he's
character.
still like a mercenary slash assassin, but
Right, but he's
at
a way
least
more
he's
interesting person.
interesting. Yeah, he's
Exactly.
a more intriguing character for sure. But yeah, I mean, hype meter out of 10. Where are you at?
I was a 2 initially, but the trailer got me up to a 5 or a 6. So good job, trailer.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure.
Put
I think I was
Mysterio on
more.
this team and we're good. That's all I ask.
I was more of like a 5, but this got me up to like a 7.
It moved the
I'm not
needle. That's what it needed
running
to
to the
do.
theater, but I'll probably be there opening weekend. So,
I'm there because Florence Pugh will be there, and that's
well,
just how my life is.
he is amazing. So yes, we ride for Florence. All right, let's keep it trucking. We got quite a few stories to get to. Kyle Chandler has been cast as Hal Jordan in Max's upcoming Lantern series, which is, as we mentioned earlier, is also a part of the DCU, the DC Cinematic Universe. Um, Kyle Chandler is one of those like character actors that you've probably seen in a bunch of movies, but like you probably don't know his name or like you
Yeah,
can't like put your finger on it. But I remember him from Super 8. He was the dad in Super 8, and also I liked him in King Kong. He played like an Errol Flynn like diva type of actor. He was supposed to be in the movie that was the movie that Jack Black was shooting in King Kong. He was the lead actor in
I
that, and
forgot
he was
about
goofy.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, and he was like goofy and stuff, and yeah, I like him in that, and he's been in a slew of other things. And here, I'll be honest, like this is more Leo's forte. I'm not really a Lanterns guy.
I got
I
you.
don't even know a lot about Hal Jordan or his origins or whatever, but I like Kyle Chandler. I'll say that. How about you, Mike? Are you a Lanterns fan?
I'm a DC fan, so by extension, I guess technically the Lanterns aren't my favorite, but I do know a lot about them. In Hal Jordan's case, Chris Pine in the Wonder Woman movies. Take
And
that,
yeah,
take that, merge it with Captain Kirk that he plays in the Star Trek movies, and that's Hal Jordan. That's basically the
okay,
case. Basically Chris
okay.
Pine. That's Hal Jordan.
Oh, okay, so he's got like a Kirk bravado and like a little bit of swagger to him.
Yeah, and he's a pilot. So
Ah,
he's
nice. Okay.
basically like a perfect mix of those two. That's why Chris Pine would have been the perfect Hal Jordan. It's interesting seeing Kyle Chandler get this role because the rumors were like these mega stars. It was Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey. It was Josh
Josh
Brolin.
Brolin. Yeah.
It was Ewan McGregor. Then it was Timothy Oliphant, and it ended up being Kyle Chandler, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that just speaks to the brand of Green Lantern and like that Ryan Reynolds movie probably tanked it so much where a lot of actors are like, I don't know if I want to be involved in that project.
Right.
Um,
And nothing against Kyle Chandler, but it definitely feels like they dropped down a couple letters. Like it went from like A-list, like top tier, and then the quality of actor dropped down a little bit. Nothing against Kyle Chandler. He's great,
oh
but
yeah, more of a
you know.
name thing, not a talent thing. Like I think
Yeah, exactly.
it's definitely like, yeah, we got the best guy for the job that said yes. which
There you go.
which is unfortunate way to put it because I think Kyle Chandler would be a really good Hal Jordan. I think he can pull that off. Like seeing him in King Kong, and he was in Game Night, he was fun there. Super 8. He definitely has the chops to deliver Hal Jordan in what this show needs, I assume, because I believe that Hal Jordan probably doesn't make it out this season because they're casting
Right.
2 Green Lanterns. They're casting Hal Jordan and they're casting Jon Stewart. And I assume Jon Stewart, especially with the age range they wanted Hal Jordan to be, because usually he's in his 30s, but they're making him like 50, 60 years old.
Right. Yeah. They went for like an older version of
Yeah.
the character. Yeah.
I think it's very much going to be like the passing of the torch of like Hal is going to be the mentor, and either he dies or retires or becomes a villain, because that's a thing that happens to Hal quite a bit. And then John becomes the actual Green Lantern, because if you start putting the pieces together, you see the Justice League lineup James Gunn is building, and it's just the
Yeah.
team from the animated series. We have Hawkgirl, we have Superman, we have Batman, we have Jon Stewart.
Nice.
And I think that's just going to be the lineup of these movies. And so that means Kyle Chandler only needs to play Hal Jordan, like for the 9 episodes that show's going to be, probably.
Right. And what's interesting is, again, this is all speculation at this point, but it looks like they're eyeing Aaron Pierre to
Yeah.
be Jon Stewart. And if you guys don't remember, he was mid-sized sedan in Old. And also his movie's trending like right now. What's that movie? It's like an action movie.
Rebel Ridge.
Yeah, I
Like
haven't
the
seen it
5th
yet,
Rebel
but
movie on Netflix.
yeah, I got decent word of mouth. Like I heard a lot of people raving about it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, but
If he gets cast, like that's my point of, like, he's an up and coming star.
yeah,
And so DC would want to lock him down. That's my point of like seeing the 2 lanterns that they're kind of going for here. It's like, yeah, I don't know how long Kyle's going to be in this role, but even if he does play Hal Jordan for the next 10 years, I think he can do it. I think he can pull it off. It's just interesting seeing this be the name that get cast after all the other ones that were thrown out like that.
It's giving Men in Black vibes. Like there's like that part where like Will Smith's like, "Kay, you're freaking out your partner," and Tommy Lee Jones is like, "I wasn't training a partner. I was training my replacement." Like
Seriously.
But that's a good formula. Buddy cop, old guy, young guy. It's a good formula.
Yeah, they said they want this to be True Detective essentially, so it'll be
Another show
interesting.
that I never got into, but
Oh boy. Hopefully you like lanterns then, because that's the vibe they're going for.
right. Well, I heard a lot of mixed things. Like I heard some seasons were better than others, and some were misses. So
It's an anthology for the most part. So just if that's what you heard and you just want to watch the good ones, you can do that too.
okay, for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta watch Westworld first. There's like I have our watch lists are just never ending, and I have so many things to get to. But
You could stop Westworld after season 1, buddy, if we're being honest.
okay, damn, shots fired. Well, the showrunners of Westworld caught a stray right now.
Listen, season 1, 10 out of 10. Everything after
Yeah.
that, skippable. I'm sorry. Sorry, showrunners.
All right, let's keep it trucking. Oh man, this one caught me off guard, guys. John Wick's spinoff Ballerina released its first official trailer starring Ana de Armas and Ian McShane coming back as Winston. And here's the thing. It looks great. Of course, the choreo is gonna be great. I love Ana de Armas. She's gorgeous. She's awesome. I like that. She went the Keanu route. It looks like she's really doing the gunplay, and she looks great doing it. However, like when I heard of this, I kind of thought it would try to do its own thing, but it's like literally Winston opens the trailer and he's like, "Oh, hello, little girl. You want to dance?" And I was like, "Oh, that's cute." But it's like, and then we see Lance Reddick in his final appearance of the franchise, R.I.P. And then of course they literally showed John Wick like walk up, like it was like a big reveal, and he was like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, how do I be like you?" He's like, "Well, I heard you kind of are," and it was. Oh, that whole exchange was a little bit cringy, and it felt like they are really leaning like way too hard on John Wick. Like if John Wick was to move, Ballerina would fall over. Like,
Yeah.
like they really went hard with the references and all the characters and the callbacks, and I was just like, I kind of thought it was going to be its own thing, but
It
maybe
really felt like they wanted you to know that this was a John Wick spinoff, and it's like if you or I were to construct that trailer, because like I don't think the contents of the trailer itself are bad, like you were saying, but it's
yeah,
like I bet all those characters, all the John Wick characters are in the movie for like 5 minutes. But
right,
somebody at
right.
Lionsgate were like, we need to make sure people know this is related to John Wick Chapter 4, one of the biggest movies of last year.
Right. No, and
And
what's
it's
funny is the title card. Like
yeah,
it literally like, it's like John Wick, but from the world of, and then it says Ballerina.
yeah, yeah.
Like
And
it flashes it. Like,
it's very much marketing of like, we don't trust that if we pitched it as its own story, it would do well. So they leaned all in on
exactly.
the John Wick. I don't know if that's a reflection of the movie. I hope it's not. But I
Yeah.
think the trailer's definitely cut to be like, hey, yeah, Keanu's cameo that's at the end of the movie. Spoil that in the trailer so we can get butts and seats, please.
Like I was thinking of the disaster artist where like James Franco as Tommy Wiseau is saying like, "Oh, they need to see my butt to sell this movie." And it's I
I
could
rewatched
picture
that yesterday. What are the odds?
they're like, "Nobody needs to see your ass." He's like, "No, they didn't see my ass so that people will see the movie." And it's like I could picture whoever at Lionsgate's like, I picture him like smoking a cigarette like, "Look, if you don't put John Wick in the trailer, no one's going to fucking watch it." Like
Yeah.
and it's like they just pound it in our like literally pound it over the head with all the John Wick references. It's like, hey, we get it from the world of John Wick, guys.
It's I'd say to the detriment of the trailer, which again, like I thought the
Yeah,
trailer was fun. I think the action,
yeah,
like you were saying, the action looks on par with John Wick, I'd say. But it almost felt like Ana de Armas's character was a background character. Like I learned nothing about who she is. We got one line of like she wants revenge for them like killing her father, I think.
yeah.
And it's like I wish we got more of who she was instead of telling us about this world because we already know this world. We've been in this world for 4 movies and a
Right,
whack spin-off prequel show. So
right.
like you don't need to like seeing Lance Reddick is cool and that hits the heart a little bit, now, but it's like, I don't know if you needed to do that. Sell me
Yeah,
on why I should see this movie for this character instead of
yeah.
making me nostalgic and wanting me to go back and watch John Wick 1 through 4 again.
Right. And I think to be honest, it's a little bit of a disservice to Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
Like they didn't trust her to sell the movie by herself, and they didn't trust the focus of the trailer to be on her story. Like to your point, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. She just looks cool and she's doing cool things. And by the way, in this photo that I posted, that is a fine coat. And I need to get me a coat with that shade color. It's almost winter season, and I'm very much a coat kind of guy. I
I
like
love
that
how
coat.
you say almost winter season, and I'm already here freezing my butt off in Wisconsin. Winter
Yeah,
season definitely
sorry.
is here up here.
Sorry. I'm sorry you gotta deal with the cold, but I'm gonna be honest. God bless California. Tomorrow is gonna be 93 degrees, and I'm not happy about it.
Loretto, some things could just stay to yourself. You did not have to rub it in that way.
Yeah, no, seriously, tomorrow I'm gonna be sweating, like wearing my t-shirt and shorts.
No, but
But
it's gonna be just as hot as Ana de Armas, it sounds like.
yeah.
I
Oh yeah. No,
digress.
it's gonna be muggy as hell. But anyways, yeah, I think hype meter for me. I'm not like okay, I'll be honest. Before the trailer, I was more like an 8.
Yeah.
It kind of went down a little bit. Like I'm at like a 6.5. Like I feel like to your point, I don't think they trust the movie. It feels desperate. Like watch this movie. Look at all the cool John Wick things. Look, Keanu's in it. Come watch this movie. Like it feels so desperate.
I also
Um,
don't know what like this is a prequel, right? Because it didn't feel like it
yeah,
did a good enough job of telling us what point in time we are. Because like with the rumors of them wanting to make another John Wick movie, I'm like, is this a setup to that John Wick movie or is this a prequel?
yeah. No,
And
I think it is a prequel. But to be
yeah,
honest, I have no idea where on the timeline this falls.
that's another thing where
So
it's like it didn't sell me on the premise of this movie itself. So I'm with you where
yeah,
it's like my hype level was probably like an 8 simply because I like the cast. I like this world, so I was excited to see more of it, but I think I did drop to like a six and a
yeah.
half where it's like I'm still interested, and I'm sure the next trailer will probably sell me. Honestly, I don't need another trailer. I'm gonna be there anyway because I just love the
Right.
John Wick universe.
Right.
But yeah, it was not a very good trailer in selling me on this film. I will
Yeah.
say the action does look great, and that's pretty much why we're all here anyway. So like the
Yeah.
thing we like is I think it's going to be well received.
Yeah. And also, I love Norman Reedus, so it's cool to see him in something again. Something other than the freaking Walking Dead, because I feel like that movie, like that show took his soul. Like he does
He
nothing else but freaking Walking Dead.
I love that you mentioned that because hey guys, over on AMC, we got season 2 of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon premiering tonight with more Norman Reedus. Like that show just came back today, and
Guys,
he's like the only character still left in it. It's so funny.
I'm gonna be honest. I loved it when it was big and it was happening and everybody was watching and everybody and their families and their moms would sit down and watch Walking Dead every Sunday. Man, I haven't watched a single thing, and once they killed off Carl, I was done. I was like, "Yo, fuck this!" Like it just killed all my hopes and dreams, and it just felt like they kept like running themselves in circles. And it was such a good show. It just they didn't know when to pull the cord, cut. What do you call it? Kill whatever. I don't. They didn't even jump the shark. They just kept swimming.
The shark never came. That's the worst
Yeah,
part.
the shark never
We're just
came.
dead in the water at this point. Tyler's comment here has me rolling. It's true. Like even in Death Stranding, he looks exactly the same.
Right. It's like, no, they suggest, hey, Norman, let's cut your hair. He's like, no, it's fine. Just leave it. Same haircut, same like beard, same gruff. By the way, Daryl Dixon is really cool. I just hate that that's all he is right now. It's like, he could be more than that.
He can, and that's the sad part of like, I hate when actors get not even typecast, just trapped in the same role. That's
Right.
why, I'm glad that Robert Downey got to move on from Iron Man. I did not expect him to become, the baddie of the next Avengers movie, but I'm glad he got to do Oppenheimer. That was cool. Now we're back to
Yeah.
franchise
Yeah.
stuff.
And it really showed, like, because I'll be honest, like his performance was incredible. And he obviously got his Oscar, and it's like it was cool to see him do something else, and it's because it shows he is a really good actor. So
Yep.
all right, let's keep it trucking. That's enough from the world of John Wick.
That's really what this movie should just be called at this point. From the world of John Wick, just drop Ballerina altogether.
I when they did that flash of the from the world of John Wick, I half expected Ballerina to be like type 14 font, like just super small,
0.775, barely can see it. Transparent.
like in parentheses.
It's like the asterisks and Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Oh my god. Sorry. I'm flipping. Oh Lord in heaven. My mouse is not mousing. You know what?
We just talk about whatever pops up. There we go.
So I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure how many people were excited for this. I feel like this is one of those slides, like you were talking about how Hollywood lets directors do a movie for them and then a movie for him. I always have a slide that's for me, and I feel like this might be one. Like if Leo and Eli were here, they would probably be like, why are we talking about this? But anyways, Academy Award winning director Catherine Bigelow,
That's right.
famously the wife of James Cameron, which I didn't know that until like a year ago. But she has an epic cast for her new thriller that's going to star Idris Elba, Greta Lee, who is amazing in past lives. I adore her. She needs to be in more things. Anthony Ramos and Rebecca Ferguson, amongst a whole long slew of names. But I wanted to focus on those four. And I'll be honest, my Jared Harris, I only know because of what movie was he in? It wasn't even Morbius. It was Mr. Deeds.
Oh,
That is like the only movie I remember him from. But yeah, it's intriguing. So from what I read about the premise of the story, it's set in the White House and there are missiles coming to America, and it's like it's supposed to be like a taut, like suspenseful kind of thing. Like, and it's interesting because like the premise just says missiles. So like I don't know what country it's coming from, I don't know where it's coming from, but they're just in the White House and they're nervous. And I don't know. I'm a sucker for like big ensemble dramas or like disaster style films, and this is totally up my alley. And Catherine Bigelow, obviously, if you guys don't know, she won an Oscar for directing The Hurt Locker. She did the original Point Break, which is an
Yep.
action classic. She has like a knack for like action and suspense and stuff. And yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm very curious. Mike, was I right? Is this slide just for me, or are you kind of interested?
Listen, man, Catherine Bigelow's making a movie. Of course, I'm interested. This cast
Okay,
is
cool.
great. The White House political thriller aspect, I think, will be interesting, especially with this group of actors. Right, I want to see what kind of story she cooks up, because I know she was working with Netflix on her next film, but they parted ways in like April of this year. So I don't know if this is the same film or if this is an entirely new project that she's working on. So that's what really has me intrigued, because I know that film that she was working on was like a power crisis, and that affects like the entire country, and like how humanity has to kind of grapple with that with this massive blackout. I see the comment.
Tyler doesn't miss, man.
Listen,
I love when Tyler's in the chat. He does not miss. He said
li-
this movie's guaranteed to make more than MegaFLOPolis.
I think I think so. I think it will. It's not going to be hard.
You know what's funny? It's in our freaking headline of the show. I actually forgot to talk about it, but let's really briefly let's talk
Sure.
about MegaFLOPolis.
Got him.
Yeah, no, the budget was something like 120 mil, something like that, and
Yeah.
it made 4.
So
And I read somewhere it's like one of, if not the worst, it's one of the worst openings in the history of cinema.
so I'm just gonna be real with you, Loretta. Who on earth thought this was gonna make that money back? Like, even if you didn't think it was gonna make, like, I didn't think it was gonna make $4 million. Probably do better than that. But like, there's no way on earth that movie was gonna make more than 50 mil, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they expected. I know it's Francis Ford Coppola, but come on. Like, what were we doing here? Who thought this was a good idea?
I can like see somewhere like what studio is this, by the way? Who distributed this? Like, I could see some studio head somewhere like who greenlit this? Like, just throwing chairs and papers, like who did this?
Right? Hold on. Who published this movie? I don't even know.
God.
That's the sad part. Hold on. I'm gonna look that up. We can keep talking. Like, I don't understand, because even from a marketing standpoint, like, have you seen like TV spots for this or trailers for it? It feels like
there's like zero marketing.
yeah, like, and I think that's the issue. This was Lionsgate, by the way. So this is why they really need Ballerina to make John Wick money to make up for this movie.
Right.
But I'm sitting here like, I didn't like, I've been watching tons of WNBA playoffs, MLB, NFL games are back, and it's like I don't see a single TV spot for this. Out of all the sporting events that I've watched, out of all the YouTube videos I see, I don't get ads for it. And it's like, who are they marketing to? Who was the audience that they were trying to get to see this movie? Because for a movie with a budget that big, you can't be a niche indie film, you know? Like,
Right.
if this movie had a $20 million budget, maybe, but you need to make blockbuster money to make up for that. So what was the plan there?
Yeah, no, honestly, like when I look at MegaFLOPolis on paper, because it feels like Orson Welles light, like Citizen Kane. Like it feels like it was supposed to be Coppola's Citizen Kane, but it's like, first of all, who is running to the theater to see that? Like, mine is diehard cinephiles and diehard Francis Ford Coppola fans, which I don't know how many exist. Like, sure, there's a million like guys and like tough guys or whatever macho guys that adore The Godfather, but do they even know who Francis Ford Coppola is?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if Coppola has the marketability. Like, there's probably millions of people on earth who love The Godfather. But does The Godfather, like, does Coppola's name resonate like Scorsese's name for Goodfellas? Right? Like, people who love Goodfellas know Martin Scorsese. I don't know if my parents who love The Godfather know who directed that movie. And that's the sad part, you know?
And it's interesting, like, I mean, like, I can't pull up the numbers right now, and I don't want to go back that far, but it's like, has he ever been like a blockbuster director? Like, I feel like Spielberg obviously set the precedent for like blockbuster films, but like, has a Francis Ford Coppola film ever really broke the bank? Like, I mean, like Apocalypse Now. I mean, like I like Jack with Robin Williams like in the 90s. Like, I don't think it made that much money. Like, I don't know.
His highest grossing movie. I'm trying to take a look now. Box Office Mojo, be kind to me. Chat, help us out if I can't get it. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I think the cast in this movie could have been a draw. But again, like I don't know if people even knew this movie existed. Like it's kind of the
Yeah.
same issue that Transformers 1 ran into, where like my mom didn't even know that movie was coming out
Yeah.
until this week. It's been out for a week already, up until this week, and
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
honestly, the marketing for Transformers sucked. Like, I think I
yeah,
saw that trailer twice,
the
and that's
trailer
because I
was
go to
bad.
yeah, and I think it's because I mean, I go to the movies a lot, and I feel like it wasn't really playing that much. I don't know, that really strange, really strange. But yeah, long story short, guys, who who is running to see Megalopolis? Obviously, nobody.
I will be
Man,
there for Catherine Bigelow's next movie, though. Back to what the slide
yes,
is showing.
right. So yeah, getting back. Thank you, Mike. Because honestly, when Leo and Eli here, you know this, we go off the freaking rails. So, but yeah, I was supposed to talk about Megalopolis during the box office pulse. That's my bad. But let's carry on. Let's
There's
we've reached
nothing to
the
talk
end.
about, honestly.
Good point. We've reached the end of our journey here for the roundup, and guys, oh man, like seriously, first of all, just hearing about this movie like almost a year ago got me excited.
Yeah.
The freaking trailer drops this week, and boy, oh my goodness. So Ryan Coogler, this is his next film, Sinners, and stars Michael B. Jordan,
And
Delroy
Michael B.
Lindo.
Jordan.
And I guess I didn't realize, is he playing twins?
He is.
Okay, so he's playing twins. It's set in like the Prohibition era, some type, like was it 30s? And there is something happening here. Something really interesting. And I think obviously if you've heard about this movie, you've heard it's like a take on vampires, but God, I just love the vibe. I love the style. I love the way this trailer's cut. Like, this isn't like your cookie cutter trailer. Like, there's just a lot of things going on here. But what I will say is I love where it's going. I love the direction, and I'm here for it. I've been on board with Ryan Coogler since Fruitvale Station, and he's made every single film he's made, Black Panther, Creed, phenomenal. I love this guy, and I can't wait to see this movie. How hyped are you, Mike?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm an 11. And
Yes.
I'm so hyped for this movie, man. Like, I don't think Ryan bad film, like you were saying. Like, all of them aren't just good. All of them are like 9 out of 10 for me, just about. I think Wakanda Forever is probably my least favorite of his. That's still an
Yeah.
8 out of 10 movie for me. So like,
It's remarkable how coherent that movie was, like despite the circumstance. Like,
yeah, like that is a feat on its own.
yeah.
Looking at Tyler's comment, one, Kylo Ren calling Adam Driver like the Green Goblin mask.
Yeah, he can't buy a hit right now, and it sucks because he's such a great actor. But yeah, flop
it's
after
pain.
flop. What was it? House of
It's
Gucci, Ferrari, like, oh.
Yeah, 65. Nobody remembers that, right?
Oh my God, I almost forgot about that movie. Like, who asked for Adam Driver in a dinosaur movie?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him. But one thing I love is that Black Panther mask is not calling Ryan Coogler back right now. Like, I'm glad he was able to step out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and do his thing. Unfortunately, like Tyler's next comment, close enough. Welcome back, Blade. It's like I love Michael B. Jordan in the dual roles here. I think, especially looking at the poster, I wonder if one of the twins is gonna be more sinister, be the vampire, be like the villain here. I love the cast. I love Haley Steinfeld, of course. Like, that's gonna be great. I love that this movie is going to be one of the few completely shot in IMAX. Like, of all the films to be fully shot in IMAX in 2025, I'm pretty sure Sinners is the only one with like the Marvel movies and Superman being like partial IMAX. So that's gonna be a treat to see on the big screen. But yeah, this trailer was very eerie, and I'm interested to
Yeah.
see what is actually happening. Like, what's the darkness that's lurking? Obviously, we know it's probably going to be the vampires, but what gets us to that point, and
Yeah.
how do they react? Right?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more happening here, like, all of a sudden we get trapped in the barn. It looks like there's some like shady dealings. Like I don't know what Michael B. Jordan's character is doing, but I'm very curious. I'm like, okay, so where is he going? Like he was like loading his gun. He's like, oh, be careful. He's like going on a mission. I don't know if he's like running booze or something like that. I don't know if he's like like a beer runner back in that time, but I'm
Yeah.
very curious, very very curious. And you mentioned the love of my life, Haley Steinfeld. Also shouts out Wonmi Mosaku, who I remember from she's B15, isn't she?
Yep. Yes, she is.
Yeah, so I loved her in Loki, and it's nice to see her. It's nice to see these actors do other things. So it's cool to see her in a non-MCU role. But
Delroy
yeah,
Lindo's in this movie.
yeah,
But
Delroy Lindo, the man, the myth, the legend, the most egregious Oscar snub of recent memory. Like, what the hell,
yeah,
Academy? I'm still mad. I'm still upset. Um, this will be the best same actor fight since Jet Li versus Jet Li. The One is such a bad movie, but it's like so bad it's good. Like it's just so laughably bad that it's entertaining, and like I have a soft spot for this movie. Like Jason Statham, Delroy Lindo is also in this movie. Oh man.
yeah. But I love, we were just talking about Coppola and Scorsese. Right? I love that Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are like the new duo in Hollywood, right? Where it's just like, yeah, this actor and this director are just gonna keep making bangers, and I love
Oh
that so
yeah.
much for them.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like Scorsese, Bobby De Niro, or slash Scorsese, DiCaprio. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's nice to see that still exist in Hollywood. Where we have
Yeah.
so many franchises. I think that kind of breaks it up a bit, but seeing these two continue to make awesome movies is great. I also love the turnaround, right? Like you were just saying, this was announced like late last year, early this year. We already had a
Yeah.
trailer and a release date. We don't see
Yeah.
that turnaround anymore.
Yeah, no, it's great, and it really opens a door. Obviously, he's gonna probably do Black Panther 3, I imagine, and it's great to see him do this though. It's cool. I love it. I'm a sucker for period pieces as well. Like one of my favorite films of this time, this era, is Untouchables by Brian De Palma.
Mhm.
And it's just such a fun time. I love the suits, the fancy suits, and it kind of reminds me of Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
The nice suits, and in that movie that they were running booze. So I'm kind of curious if it's going to be along that same kind of like similar theme, and I'm here for it. I'm just so excited.
Yep.
Yorgos and Emma Stone. Dude, did you see Kinds of Kindness?
Yeah, I did.
Did you like it?
I don't love any of Yorgos's films, but I can
Okay.
appreciate it. Yorgos is not a director that I love. So at this point, I'm just like, Emma Stone is acting her heart out, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Genuinely.
And honestly, I'll watch it at some point, but I was not vibing with that. Like, oh man, like
Yeah.
that was one of the rare occurrences. I looked at my watch because I saw the runtime was like 3 hours, and man, like it was like an hour and 20. I was like,
Damn.
shit.
Yeah. It's one that's hard to get through. I'm not gonna lie. I think at that point, I can just call and say Yorgos is not a director that I vibe with personally.
Yeah.
But let them keep making movies together. I'm not gonna like all of them. It's cool. I'll live with it.
Yeah, man. So you said you're at an 11 for hype for the Sinners, right? I think I'm on the same level, man. I am ecstatic. Can't wait to see it.
I'm so
Um
hyped because the team from Black Panther is back with Cooler, of course, working on this movie. The score, who was doing the score again? Dang it, I have the name right here. Ludwig. He's doing the
oh
score.
he,
He just
Ludwig's back?
Yeah, he's doing the
Let's
score coming off of
go.
his Oscar for Oppenheimer. So
Didn't they release like the art for his soundtrack or whatever?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I saw
Yeah.
something. It looked really cool. But yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Ludwig. Let's
So it's like
go.
one of my favorite actors, my favorite director, and one of my favorite composers are coming back for a movie. Instant hype. And Haley Steinfeld's in it. You
Yes.
know, she automatically
Hell
makes
yes.
it an 8 on average.
Hell yes. But yeah, man, that wraps up the roundup. We made it, Mike. And as a like last minute, emergency quarterback, man, you filled in nicely, and I really appreciate you being here, man. But before we go, let people know where they could find you and what you got going on with your respective channels and projects.
I appreciate you having me and calling very basic plays. You know, you watered down the offense for me. This is very much just pitch it to the running back and let them set him up for a screen. That was the play call today, and I love it. Not better than Brock Purdy. Shots fired. But no, you can find me at Novice Cinephile on X and YouTube, The Novice Cinephile on Instagram and Threads. As far as what I'm doing, I've got a lot of interviews. I interviewed the cast of Transformers 1 and the producer and director of that film. I also interviewed the cast of My Hero Academia. That's all going to be on collider.com, as well as my
Hell yeah.
review of Superman and Lois and Blue Lock. That's also going to be on Collider. And you can also find me on the Amateur Otaku. We're talking Jujutsu Kaisen tomorrow night live. That manga just ended today. And over on the Chatter After, we're going to be talking all sorts of stuff. We also have the show Assembled, Leo and I do, where we're going to be talking everything in superhero dumb, whether that be comics, the shows, the movies. There's a lot that happened since our last episode, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be here on this channel as well.
Hell yeah. Follow him at the Novice Cinephile. Check out his respective channels. Follow, like, and subscribe down below at this channel here. You can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd at Marcellus Durden. I don't know if you guys noticed. I will never call it X. I appreciate you sticking to the program, Mike, but you can follow me on Twitter at Marcellus Durden. I'm a proud editor and critic for the Cinema Spot. You can follow us on Twitter at the Cinema Spot and Instagram at the Cinema Spot. Yeah, we're still covering Fantastic Fest. So we have a bunch of reviews of like short films and various films that premiered at Fantastic Fest. We have a review for Beetlejuice, Alien Romulus, The Works. Check us out at thecinemaspot.com. I am yearning to do a throwback theater. It's been kind of some time. I was supposed to do one for Alien, but it got delayed because I couldn't find a time with my guest, and then Alien Romulus came out, and then I just missed the timing on that boat. But
I mean, it's spooky season, you know? Lean into it.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. It's practically October. We're like a day or two away, and I'm gonna cook up something for Throwback Theater on this channel. So guys, stay tuned, and obviously follow the channel that birthed it all, Geekly Goods. I'm sure Leo's cooking up all kinds of stuff. Follow and like the Geekly Goods. For Mike and myself, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Tyler, for being in the MVP in the chat. Even though you decided to dump on Brock Purdy for no reason 2 seconds ago, I forgive you. I will be the bigger person. Lamar
Listen,
played
man,
great.
Nothing
The
wrong with
Ravens
being a
looked good.
system quarterback. It's okay. It's okay.
Whoa! Catching strays. All right. Before anybody else gets a hit, let's get out of here. I just gotta find our exit video. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Come back next week, same time, or earlier time actually, but
like an hour
that's what it
earlier,
is.
but it's all right.
Yeah, an hour earlier, but that's the show every Sunday, usually at 7 p.m. Until next time, guys. Peace out.